Hello. I get the most questions asked about Cuba. So I've decided to start a series where I'm just going to make videos as I'm asked questions. So tonight I was at dinner and I had a client that was asking about taking a cruise to Cuba. Should they cruise or should they fly? And it's really pretty relative. It depends on the type of traveler you are. Know that if you are cruising from Cuba right now, it's definitely Port of Miami and Port Everglades, Fort Lauderdale. I think Tampa's trying to get in the game, but for right now, those are the two ports that are cruising to Cuba. Also, you want to know that when you're cruising to Cuba, you're going to have an overnight in Havana. Most cruise lines are offering overnight, like half a day and then one night, and then you cruise out the next day. But it's only in Havana. So if you're, done Havana already or looking to explore more, Fathom was doing 3 ports, and their last cruise is going to be May the 25th, I want to say. So that's your last opportunity to see more than Havana. So if you want to take a Fathom cruise, which is who I took, and I'll do a separate video on that because that's a whole nother like couple of minutes to talk about the breakdown on that, my review of Fathom Cruise. They've gone to Santiago and Cienfuegos in addition to Havana, but you still only have an overnight in Havana. So just know yourself. I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. It just depends on the type of traveler you are. I did the cruise first, and then I did a flight into Havana, which was, totally different. So again, I'm going to be breaking it down, but I just thought based on the questions that I've been asked, I get the most questions asked about Cuba, and I think it's just because it's still such a new, territory for Americans to travel primarily. And, not everybody knows somebody who's been. So when people find out that I've been, and I've been twice, and I've been on the cruise, and I've been by flying in, they have a lot of questions. So if you are thinking about cruising to Havana, just know that, I'm sorry, cruising to Cuba, just know that you're gonna have the majority of your time is gonna be in Havana, and if you want to see more and be a little bit more flexible, that might not work out for you because again, you're on a cruise itinerary, so it's typically, docking in the morning, leaving in the early evening. So that's something that you want to take into account. How much time do you want to spend? If you're one of the, many people who are kind of like live like a local and be flexible, you might want to think about not taking a cruise because with the cruise line, it's a little bit more rigid. And not in a bad way. It's a good thing for people who like cruising, but those are just things. So it's relative. I get that question a lot: should I cruise or should I take a flight? And it just depends on the type of traveler you are. But there are a lot of options, especially now. Most of the cruise lines are doing cruise stops in Havana and seeing more ports than Havana, but definitely just an overnight in Havana. So take that into consideration. If you have any other questions, check out the link in my bio. I'm Double R Travels. You can also follow me on social media. I hope to hear from you soon, and I'll definitely be doing more videos on travel to Cuba.